You know what? One of the cruelest things you can say to someone who is genuinely struggling is, just try harder. Just focus. Just stop being so lazy. Just get it together. Those words land like a verdict. Like a judgment that the problem is not your brain, but your character. Your effort. Your worth as a person. And millions of people have heard those words their entire lives and not knowing that what they were actually dealing with was never laziness at all. It was ADHD, and nobody explained that better or more honestly recently than Sophia Laforteza, the leader of one of the most watched girl groups in the world right now, who sat in front of her fans and said, "I have ADHD, and I need you to understand what that actually means." Welcome back to IconPsych. So glad you're here for this one because today's video is different from anything we've covered before. We're not just talking about mindset and success. We're talking about something that affects hundreds of millions of people globally and is still wildly misunderstood. ADHD. And we're using Sophia's story as the lens because the way she talked about it, honestly, vulnerably, without making it cute or inspirational, is exactly the kind of conversation that changes how people see themselves. If you're new here, subscribe. This channel covers the real psychology behind the world's most iconic celebrities. Now let's get into it. Sophia Laforteza is the leader of Katseye, a global girl group formed through a partnership between Hype and Geffen Records after a worldwide audition process involving over 120,000 people. She is Filipino. She is talented in a way that feels almost unfair to witness, and she recently did something that required a specific kind of courage that most people at her level of fame never find. She went live on Weverse and told her fans the truth, not a polished PR-managed truth, not a carefully worded statement designed to generate sympathy, just the real, messy, honest truth about what it feels like to live in her brain every single day. She said, "I have ADHD, like diagnosed. With ADHD, I don't think people know how difficult having ADHD is. It really is difficult." And then she described it in a way that made millions of people feel seen for the first time. Here is what Sophia described. Internal restlessness that never fully quiets. A mind that never shuts off. Not even when she desperately needs it to. Difficulty sleeping because the thoughts keep coming, regardless of how tired her body is. Trouble focusing in conversations. Not because she doesn't care, but because her brain has already moved to 17 other places without her permission. Procrastination, not from laziness, but from a genuine inability to initiate tasks even when she knows exactly what needs to be done and wants to do it. The experience of having so many thoughts, simultaneously that the overwhelm becomes paralysis. She said, "The thing about ADHD is that it can either make you hyper-focus or it can make you just see everything at once and you just get so overwhelmed." And one of the hardest parts she shared, the one that I think will resonate most deeply with anyone who has ever been called lazy, is knowing you have the potential to do something, but still struggling to actually begin. That gap between knowing you can and being unable to start. That is not a character flaw. That is neuroscience. Sophia was diagnosed with ADHD around the time Katseye debuted, but she only received her full diagnostic report recently, and she said something about that process of acceptance that I think is one of the most important things anyone with ADHD has ever said publicly. She said, "It took a lot for me to even accept that it was something that I had. I had to accept it was something chemical, not about the person I am or being lazy and demotivated." Read that again. She had to consciously separate her diagnosis from her identity, had to actively unlearn the narrative that her struggles were moral failures, rather than neurological realities. That process of moving from shame to understanding is called diagnostic acceptance. And psychologically, it is one of the most significant shifts a person with any neurodevelopmental condition can make, because shame keeps you stuck. Understanding gives you options. When Sophia stopped seeing her ADHD as evidence that something was wrong with her as a person and started seeing it as information about how her brain works, everything changed about how she could approach her own life. Here is something Sophia said that genuinely moved me and that I think contains a profound psychological truth that goes far beyond ADHD. She described being forgetful in daily life. struggling to absorb words when she reads, having to work extra hard during dance rehearsals because she can't always hold choreography in her conscious mind the way others might. But then she said, her body remembers. She may not be able to explain the choreography in her head, but when the music starts, her body knows what to do. That is not just an ADHD observation. That is a description of implicit memory, the way our bodies store learned movement and skill in a completely different system from our conscious verbal memory. And it is a reminder that intelligence and capability exist in far more forms than the ones our school systems and workplaces typically measure. Sophia's brain works differently from the standard template. And that different brain, that restless never, shutting off overwhelming flooding brain, learned the choreography, remembered the steps, got on the stage, led the group, won the American Music Awards. A different brain is not a broken brain. It is just a brain that needs different conditions to show what it can do. I want to spend a moment on what it actually took for Sophia to say what she said publicly. She is the leader of her group, the face, the one people look to for strength and stability. In that position, admitting any kind of struggle carries real professional risk. There is still enormous stigma around ADHD. Still people who hear it and think, oh, so she's the scattered one, the one who can't focus, the one who needs extra help. None of those associations are accurate. But they exist, and Sophia knew they existed when she started talking. She said it anyway. She also did something that I think shows genuine maturity and responsibility. She encouraged her fans who think they might have ADHD to seek professional support. She talked about her own psychiatrist and psychologist. She normalized the act of getting help, not as weakness, but as the intelligent response to a real neurological condition. And she said, I go to a psychiatrist. I have a psychologist. I talk to our therapist all the time. From someone at her level of public visibility and that normalization of professional mental health, support is genuinely valuable because someone watching that live who has been struggling in silence for years heard their idol say it's okay to get help, and maybe for the first time, believed it. And now I want to speak directly to you. Because whether you have ADHD or not, Sophia's story carries something that I think everyone watching needs to hear right now. How many times have you called yourself lazy when you were actually overwhelmed? How many times have you judged yourself for not starting something when the real barrier wasn't motivation but the way your brain was processing the task? How many times have you accepted someone else's verdict about your character? Lazy, unfocused, scattered, not trying hard enough, without stopping to ask whether that verdict was actually true. One of the most damaging things a person can do to themselves is accept a false explanation for their own struggles. When you tell yourself you're lazy, you stop looking for the real answer. You stop asking what actually needs to change. You stop seeking the support that might actually help. Sophia had to unlearn years of that false narrative, had to accept that what she was dealing with was chemical, not personal. And in doing that, she gave herself back the one thing that shame had taken away. Permission to understand herself honestly and get the right kind of help. You deserve that same permission. Whatever you've been struggling with, whatever gap exists between what you know you're capable of and what you've been able to produce, that gap deserves honest investigation, not judgment, not shame, not the same verdict. You've been repeating to yourself for years curiosity, compassion, and if needed, professional support, because a different mind is not a broken mind. It is just a mind that hasn't found its right conditions yet. Sophia Laforteza leads one of the most exciting girl groups in the world right now. She does it with a brain that never fully quiets, that floods with thoughts, that struggles to begin tasks it knows it can complete, that forgets words but remembers every step of every routine. And she does it brilliantly, not despite her ADHD, not because of it in some oversimplified superpower narrative, but because she accepted it honestly, stopped letting shame define it, got the support she needed, and showed up anyway. That's not an ADHD story. That's a human story, about accepting the brain you actually have instead of resenting the one you wish you had, and doing remarkable things with it regardless. Subscribe to IconPsych. Share this with someone who has been called lazy when they were actually just wired differently. We will see you in the next one.